Welcome into Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. My name is Madelyn, Burke, alongside the Super Bowl champion Amani, Toomer. A tricky game in Philadelphia, we'll say. 38-20 is the final score as the Giants lose to the Eagles on the road. But Amani, we got to start with the fact that the Giants, not only do they lose the game, they've lost the battle of attrition, right? Cam Skattebo, Giants spark plug of a rookie running back, was carted off the field with an ankle injury. He was taken to a local hospital for further evaluation. Jackson Dart gave him a nice little headbutt coming off the field, so hat tip to that. But coming into the game, too, the Giants were already shorthanded, especially on the defensive side of the ball, being without Paulson Adebo, being without Javon Holland, and then seeing Art Green and Cordell Flott go down in this one as well.
Yeah, this is a team that's being stretched not only because of how they're trying to, struggling back to try and perform to the level that we think they can, but when you lose players, when you finally start getting momentum going, it really makes it hard for this Giants team to keep on sustaining the success that they've had over the last couple of weeks. And, when you lose a guy like Skattebo and you see the reaction that everybody on the team has, one guy had his hand in his head in his hand, and it was really deflating. And at that point in time, I felt like the Giants were still in the game, but I think when Skattebo left, a lot of the energy left with him.
A lot of the energy left, and also the defensive side of the ball. It was hard stopping the run for a Philadelphia team that just 2 weeks ago, when the Giants defeated the Eagles on Thursday Night Football, the Eagles only had 3.8 yards per carry. Today, Sunday, week 8, they had 277 rushing yards on the ground. Two players, Saquon Barkley and Tank Bigsby, eclipsing the 100-yard rushing mark. Why was it so hard for the Giants to stop the run this time?
Well, I think when you have a team, like when the Giants are built on a lead, and when the Giants don't have the lead and their defensive line, which is the strength of this team, are forced to play both the run and the pass, it makes it that much harder for them to narrow in. So you got a bunch of pass rushers, and when you run at pass rushers to get, it's very hard for them to do both at the same time. And, you look at these numbers, I mean, both running backs, Bigsby and Barkley, both averaged over 10 yards a carry. That is unbelievable in terms of, in the NFL, that never happens.
Absolutely.
We're talking usually 3 or 4, not 10. That's ridiculous. 10 and 11.
That is double up the efficiency of a quality running back right there. And you know what? They just had their day. The Giants had a couple moments that they wish could have gone another direction, especially some calls that they would like to have back. Let's talk about that tush push, Amani. Yeah. It's been a point of emphasis about this Eagles team in the offseason. The rules committee said, no, this is going to be remaining a play that is legal in the NFL. But this year, Sunday afternoon, we saw in Philadelphia, the whistle blew on a tush push. They marked the forward progress of the ball. The ball did come out. Kayvon Thibodeau had it, but the officials said, no, we can't review this because of forward progress. What did you see in that play?
It's weird because the tush push is, half of the tush push is the push.
Right.
So you kind of get stopped, and then the push is what initiates the extra yardage. So when Jalen got stopped, the ball kept moving forward, and he reached the ball out. As he reached the ball out, Thibodeau ripped it out of his hands. So it's really difficult to kind of figure out how to stop this play. This is another level, another layer on top of the injury situation that might happen because of all those guys going down into each other. And now they got to really get on top of how you officiate this play to make it fair for both the offense and the defense, because if the forward motion stops, then it should stop on the goal line, and the push shouldn't even matter. So there's a lot of things that the NFL should look at this just to clean up the game so it's fair on both sides.
Absolutely, because as the player isn't down, he's on top of a pile of bodies, so it's hard to decide when the play is officially over.
And the ball is moving forward.
The ball is moving. Yeah, there's a lot going on there. A lot of questions remain around that play. Fox play-by-play caller Kevin Burke likened the officiating in this game to the Elaine Bennett stance, saying it was kind of all over the place. And I respect that
I respect
that little nod, that little hat tip there. But I would say another play, too, that the Giants would have loved to get back is late in the game. They're down. They're fighting to get back into this. It's 4th and 11. Jackson Dart takes a deep shot to Darius Slayton. He gets what would be a 68-yard touchdown, but it's called back for offensive pass interference. As a wide receiver, as the Giants' all-time leading wide receiver, I need your expertise on what you saw in that play.
Well, usually, to me, this would be a non-call because of the fact that he did extend his arm. He did put his hand on his chest, but then he put his hand on the defender's chest. But as the defender grabs his shirt from the back, he grabs his undershirt. So I just felt like when you're chicken fighting, that's what they call it, when both the receivers and the defensive backs are fighting each other's hand, usually just don't call it. And whoever wins the chicken fight usually wins the thing. And obviously this time Slayton won it, and I just felt like that kind of bailed him out. But on the road in Philadelphia, if you're a Giant, you can't expect calls like that, because for some reason, it always ends up that it's harder to get penalties called on the road than at home.
I get that. I do get that. And it was a tough moment, a tough call, but credit to the rookie quarterback, Jackson Dart, for continuing to fight, continuing to lead the Giants down the field and push for it, although it wasn't enough. 38-20 is the final score, Week 8 in Philadelphia. We're going to continue to break this one down as Giants Postgame Live rolls on. But first, I want to remind you all, gather your friends, family, or coworkers, because group ticket packages make it easy to enjoy game day together. Group ticket packages offer preferred ticket prices and the ability to purchase together in group blocks. Just scan the QR code on your screen to lock in your group tickets and get early access to the best seats and the games of your choice. We've got more to come here on Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. After the break, Coach Daboll heads to the podium. Time now for today's scoring drive of the game, brought to you by Citizens. Bring you to the first quarter. Took 6 plays, 52 yards, 3 minutes and 14 seconds off the clock, capped by an 18-yard receiving touchdown by Cam Skattebo to tie the game at 7. Unfortunately, Scat would be carted off the field later in the game with a dislocated ankle. As a reminder, for every scoring drive this season, Citizens, the official bank of the New York Football Giants, will donate $750 to the Giants Foundation to support their work in the community. Welcome back to Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. It's Week 8. The Giants fell to the Eagles 38-20 in Philadelphia. But Amani, they were still able to get some defensive pressure on the quarterback, Jalen Hurts. What did you see from the pass rush?
Well, this pass rush wasn't an ideal situation for them because the Eagles were able to run the ball so efficiently. What pass rushers want is the lead. Last time when we played the Eagles, we had the lead, and that's why this pass rush was so effective. But even through all that, they were very effective today. 4 sacks, 5 QB hits, 3 TFLs, and 5 tackles. This defensive line is doing their part. They're trying to do as much as they can, but this week, this game did not really go into their hands. But let's talk about Brian Burns. This is a guy who's come this season with a completely different attitude. He wants to win, and you could saw his frustration after last week's game, but he took it out this week. He had look at this. This over the past, these are the sacks week by week, and you can add another sack right here. That makes he has double-digit sacks with less than double-digit games. This guy is having a Pro Bowl type of season. He might be a Defensive Player of the Year if he keeps up the amount of sacks that he gets over these last couple games. This is a guy that he's a free agent that they brought in, and he's really worth everything that he's got from coming over from Carolina.
I love to see it. Getting the pressure going right there, too. And for context, Brian Burns, his career high in sacks is 12.5. He's got 10 so far this season, and it's only Week 8. Lots of credit to Burns and the Giants pass rush there. All right, for more on this one, though, let's send it down to the field in Philadelphia, where Paul Dottino and Howard Cross are standing by. Guys, what did you see?
Well, there's no doubt that the emotions of the Giants were dramatically impacted by that injury to Cam Skattebo and his ankle in the second quarter, Howard. It has long-ranging effects, but you were right there on the bench. I would really appreciate your view and perspective on how it impacted the team at that moment and then how they responded.
Well, how it impacted the team, you could see on the field when guys walked over to try to help Skattebo up, they just turned their back and ran away and fell down and started to pray. The guys came over from the bench to pat him on the back, and he's like, come on, guys, let's go. Every head was like hung down. Everybody's face was sad. But Skattebo, kind of giving them like, keep going. Coach even said at halftime, something devastating like that, it's hard for the team emotionally to keep going. But the Giants responded really well by coming out and scoring a touchdown. Defense kept fighting. I think not only Scatterbo going out, but Flock going out really kind of turned the tide of the game.
And by the way, credit to the Philadelphia fans. A jam-packed stadium giving Scatterbo a standing ovation as he was carted off.
Yes.
Now, the other thing I thought was interesting in the second quarter was on an Eagles tush push. Hurts trying to reach for the first down. Very difficult play to officiate as he's in that pile, but was he stopped? Where should he be stopped? And then the ball comes free.
Well, it is a play hard to play to officiate. The reason why it's a hard play to officiate because what they do is now is they're going with the forward momentum of the players going in, and they're in a huge pile, and you can't see where the ball is. But in this case, the ball was on the outside, and Hurts was on the top of his players as they were moving forward. Somebody reaches in, I think it was Thibodeau, and pulls the ball out. Now, if they call the ball, if the official says that forward progress is stopped, then they're short of the first down. If the forward progress isn't stopped, then it's a fumble. This play might be the play that stops a tush push in the future of next year.
It is a controversial play. We'll see how the NFL decides to go and deal with it moving forward. Let's go back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks so much, Paul Dottino and Howard Cross, recapping this one from the field as the Giants fell to the Eagles 38-20 in Philadelphia. That's a wrap for Week 8, but we're going to continue to break this one down. But first, want to remind you guys, Giants fans, that guests of the postgame show receive a gift certificate to Ben & Jack's, located on 44th Street in Manhattan. From the celebrated porterhouse to finer seafood, Ben & Jack's will surpass your expectations of what a steakhouse should be. More to come here on Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. After the break, Coach Daboll. Giants fans, it's Moody's. Decode risk, unlock opportunity. Learn more at moodys.com. Welcome back to Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. Madelyn, Burke, and the Super Bowl champ Amani, Toomer, breaking down this Week 8 loss in Philadelphia. 38-20 was the final score, Amani. But before we get into more conversation, let's send it down to the podium. Head coach Brian Daboll is about to address the media live from Philadelphia. Let's have a listen to what he has to say.
Okay, give credit to Philly. They beat us in all phases.
Brian, what did they tell you on the tush push fumble play, and what did you challenge afterwards?
Yeah, I'll just say our guys upstairs were pretty adamant about challenging the play. Have a lot of trust and faith in them, and it didn't work out. Not going to get any particulars though with it.
When he initially said you weren't allowed to challenge it, but you did again, were they wrong that you weren't allowed to challenge it?
Yeah, no, I respect it. I'm not going to get into the particulars of it. Again, I got a lot of confidence in the guys we have upstairs with that stuff, and it just didn't work out.
What did the officials tell you about the play?
I'm not going to get into particulars.
Scott's injury and the emotional after effect.
Yeah, feel absolutely terrible for the young man. Obviously saw it, or it looked bad. You feel for anybody on your team that goes down and has a really bad injury, and I feel, and I know the players feel the same way about Scott.
You guys announced he went to the hospital. Did he return?
I have not seen him. I haven't seen him.
How much do you think the injuries took a toll when you already came in shorthanded and you continue to lose guys as the game went?
Yeah, you have to be ready to go. Next man up. So no excuses in that regard. I never will be.
Right, you guys were still in it when on that 2nd and 26 and the 29-yard run by Tank. Can you just talk a little bit about what happened there?
Yeah, he squirted out there to the right, and I thought we had a couple chances on him, and he made a nice play. It was a big one. 30 whatever plus yards. So yeah, there was a number of those, in the run game that we got to, we just didn't do a good enough job of.
What do you attribute to the struggles in the run defense too?
Yeah, Pat, probably there's a number of things, I would say. Yeah, it's never just one thing when you give up, 300 yards or whatever it was, close to 300 yards. Could be a call, could be a run fit, could be a missed tackle, a number of things. But that was obviously way too many yards against a team, that we knew, wanted to run the ball.
It's usually pretty quick for them, Brian, with
Yeah.
the touchdown from.
Yeah, it's 65-yarder. They made a nice play, but we got to do a better job in that regard.
Did you guys feel any layover from the Denver game, or how that?
No. I mean, they just they caught us in something and ended up making a big play for a fast start.
Did you think that OPI on Slayton was a fair call?
Yeah, I'm not going to comment on what I think on officials. They call it, and we got to play it.
How did you feel about Slayton's return, the play right before Scadaboo's touchdown?
The little, you're talking about the little hitch, and then he ran with it. Yeah, I mean, Slay's, it's good to have Slay back out there. But we just came up short. But it's good to have him out there.
What did you think of Jackson's performance?
I think he battles, Dan. I think the kid battles and tries to give all the players chances to make opportunities, to make plays, and we got to do that for him. Are there a couple that we got sacked on? Sure, but there's give and take with part of that play too, of trying to make some plays, and he makes a number of them. Gets out of some loose plays, keeps his eyes downfield, gives guys chances down the field with the football. That guy battles. I just think he's a good young player.
We talked a lot about the chess match, facing the team 2 weeks later. Did they throw a lot of different things at you guys?
No, I just think they played. I mean, they played good. They got the run game going. I think we were around 50% on third down, somewhere around there offensively. We didn't get as many big plays. The run game was, I would just say, okay on our end, about 3.5-yard average, whatever it may be. And then they ran the ball and they controlled the game. They had some good field position plays in the kicking game. All around played better.
I'm pretty sure by the end of the day you're going to be dead last in yards per carry allowed. Why do you think this has been a consistent problem for this group?
Yeah, again, I would just go back to today. And there's a number of things. Not good enough.
Jackson's now been sacked, I believe, 9 times these last 2 games combined. I guess, what do you tell him to try to help avoid those sacks? Obviously, you can make those plays, extend plays, but what do you tell him to try to maybe avoid some of those sacks?
Well, we'll take a look at the tape and learn from it. I know he will. Again, he's made a lot of loose plays, too, with it. So, we'll take a look at it, learn from it, and continue to work on it.
Brian, how would you assess Dexter Lawrence's play to this point this year?
Yeah, Dex has given everything he has. Again, it's a collective deal, Con. We all can all be better. Dex gives everything he's got. He's double teamed mostly on every play. Got a lot of confidence in Dex.
Brian, Jackson immediately went down to a D. A bunch of players did. When Cam went down, they could tell right away it was something bad. For a rookie,
Did you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean they were right there, so
yeah.
They obviously were closer than I was. Then he had to come back and play the rest of the game, and this is a good friend of his.
Yeah.
I know it's the big leagues and everything, but was that something that is very hard to do, do you think?
I think it'd be a good question for Jackson. I mean, they're football players. I mean, football is pretty much 100%. You're going to get injured at some point in time when you play. For everybody that's played, whether it's D3, high school, D2, D1, pros. It's a contact sport that, unfortunately there's injury, and there's usually quite a bit of it. But I know he's close with Scat. I'm sure, again, you'd have to ask him how he feels. I don't want to say how he feels, but I know that, watching Scat go down like that and the injury that he had, that's tough. That's always tough on everybody involved.
Did it change the mood on the sideline, do you think?
No, again, unfortunately, there's injuries in football, and it happens every week, every game. And you hate it, but that's part of the game.
Brian, was this a step back for your team, do you think? I mean, you guys have been battling. Last week was a crazy game.
Yeah.
I mean, this was a game that they kind of handled you from start to finish.
Yeah, I just say, again, they controlled the line of scrimmage, and that was a major point of emphasis, and give them credit for doing that. When a team runs for nearly 300 yards, it's pretty difficult to control the game, if you will. And we missed out on some opportunities.
To have lost two dynamic playmakers in Scadaboo and Neighbors, just how challenging is it going to be to generate enough points to be successful going forward?
Yeah, again, that's part of it with injuries. You're going to have them, and you have to figure out different ways to do different things. That's why we've been using some 2 tight end sets and things like that. You know, whoever we have, we'll sit down and we'll put a game plan together we think, you know, gives you a chance. And people got to, you know, the guys that are here, we trust.
How concerning are the hits that Jackson did end up taking late? You know, you're dealing with all these injuries. He took a lot of hits at the end of that game there.
Yeah, again, he's a competitive guy. You know, you never want your quarterback to get hit. But he's a competitive guy. Led the team down to try to finish the game, you know, try to get an onside kick. But, you know, just overall, I thought that, you know, give credit to Philly. They did a good job of controlling the game, really in all phases. Thanks, guys.
Locker room zone.
That sound from head coach Brian Daboll, brought to you by Ford, the official vehicle of the New York Giants. Amani, one of the points that Dabes was making is just how much Jackson Dart battles. He said that guy battles, gives receivers a chance downfield. Yes, he took a lot of hits in that game, but what did you see from the rookie quarterback?
Like you said, I saw a young quarterback who is trying to make plays. Sometimes he's holding on to the ball a little bit longer, but it's going to a process on when you can hold it, when you got to get rid of it. And I think he did a good job in terms of keeping the momentum steady, even though the situation, losing one of your good friends, one of the big playmakers in Cam Scadaboo, but still fighting through. And it wasn't a clean game. There was a lot of things that went wrong, and he kept his momentum and kept going forward. So I was happy to see that. This is all a learning process, and I feel like this was just another opportunity for him to understand what it's like to be a quarterback in the NFL.
Absolutely. A tough script for a rookie quarterback, losing the #1 playmaker Malik Neighbors, losing Cam Scadaboo early on in the season. Yeah. But we'll see how it continues to unfold. The Giants fall into the Eagles 38-20 in Week 8. We've got more to come here on Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. After the break, Jackson Dart.
From the standpoint of the game, what did Dart show you getting back up after all those big hits? And
Dart is who we've known. He's been the entire season, you know, really relentless, tough, no fear, and just wants to win. And you see it in his eyes. Just really wants to win the game, and he's going to give you everything he has, and he's going to make sure when he walks up the field there's nothing left in the tank. So, you know, he's a hell of a quarterback, and I love playing with a guy like that.
How are you feeling? Sorry if you were just asked this.
Like, physically? Yeah. Oh, I'm beat up. That's the offensive line. That's, you know, I feel like I've been pretty open with my goals and stuff for the season. So, you know, you just got to find a way to fight through things. We good?
You got here a second late about Scadaboo. Obviously, anytime a teammate goes down, no matter what it is, it's a real hard thing to digest. Mm-hmm. What did you guys think at the moment when he was down on the field? Did you know it was serious?
So I looked over and I didn't see him down. And I was looking around because they were blowing the whistles. I saw him down. And I saw the injury, and like I said, I've never seen anything like that before. So I don't know how serious it is. I know it's really serious, but I don't know the significance of it. So hopefully it's one of those things where it's like a clean break or something that is a lot easier to recover from. You know, Scat's a really tough dude, and you know, mentally he's one of the toughest guys I've been around. So if anyone can come back from injury like that and be even better as him.
As a guy who's been around this league for a while, you've seen a lot of different things. When there is a serious injury on the field, is there something you can say to your teammates on the bench to help make sure that they're digesting it correctly?
Yeah, I feel like as a veteran, you just have to be able to bring guys back up, because things like that can be really demoralizing and can really knock you down from where you are and where you need to be in order to go out there and play at your best. So for me and just for the other vets, we just had to do a better job of bringing guys up and, you know, just handling the emotions on the sidelines, because when a play like that goes down with that type of injury, it can really do damage to a team and a team psych. So, you know, yeah, oh shoot, sorry. Like I said, you know, I'm just praying for Scan. Hopefully he recovers quickly.
That's Giants tackle Jermaine Illuminor talking after the Giants-Eagles game. 38-20 is the final in favor of Philadelphia. Amani, when you hear a veteran player like Jermaine Illuminor talking about Cam Scadaboo in the way that he did, obviously a tough injury, you don't want to see something like that. He said he's never seen anything like that. But calling the rookie one of the toughest players he's seen, so mentally tough, speaking with such high praise for a young guy who's already made such an impact on this team. How do you take those comments?
Well, it just goes to show that, you can fool people from the outside, but you can't fool your teammates who are with you day in, day out. And that's what really lets me know that how people really feel about Jackson Dart and Scadaboo, both of them together. Both of these guys are very focused on trying to win and doing what they can do. And the fact that they've gained that respect from people in the locker room that have been around for a long time, that speaks volumes to me about what type of character they not only they only show on TV and interviews, but when they show them how they are received by their own teammates.
Absolutely, that respect in the locker room is almost an intangible right there. Cam Scadaboo is going to be out. We will see for how long. But one player who did make his return today, wide receiver Darius Slayton, he's speaking in the locker room. Let's send it down to Philly.
How different is it, coming to a game where you guys maybe have a few injuries you're dealing with versus in the middle of a game you start taking hits and have to overcome that? I mean, not to make an excuse for it, but I mean, how hard is that to deal with?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly not ideal. You come in with a game plan and certain guys you expect to play, but at the end of the day, we have a lot of good football players on this team. And if one guy goes down, we have capable guys that should be able to go out there and get the job done.
Darius, lately, this team has not played games like this very often. Was this a kind of a step back, you think, for this group?
I wouldn't say it was a step back. I mean, we certainly probably weren't quite as sharp as we've been in recent memory, but I wouldn't say it was a step back. There's just a few plays out there that we need to make.
Is there anything the Eagles did? I mean, I know the first game you didn't play in, but just looking at the film of the first game to now, like what kind of adjustments did they make that made it hard for you guys today, maybe?
Yeah, they switched up some coverages from the first time around. They played a lot more different coverages than they did the first time. So good on them. But at the same time, we had plays that we could have beat them with, and we just got to execute better and beat them.
After being out with an injury, how did that first catch feel that led to Scadaboo's touchdown?
Yeah, it felt good. Be able to get back into it, kind of get tackled that first time and get that first bump back and kind of get the jitters off you.
Were you on a pitch count?
Can neither confirm nor deny.
What's sort of just the mental state of this team after last week's loss and then dealing with the injuries today? I mean, I know it's just another game, but I mean, it's, you guys aren't robots out here, right? It's a lot you're dealing with.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not ideal. We want to win. We're fighting to win. We're trying to find ways to win, and I believe that we will find ways to win. We just have to keep working and keep going.
That sound from Giants wide receiver Darius Slayton, brought to you by Ford, the official vehicle of the New York Football Giants, as we take a look at his numbers in Week 8. 5 targets, 2 catches, 26 yards, an average of 13 per catch. Could have been longer, but that big flag brought it back. Slayton making his return after missing a couple weeks with a hamstring. More to come here on Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health.
Get open for Jackson.
What did you think when you saw that? A lot of guys kind of you could see everybody turning away.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty serious, and I saw it and just kind of immediately took a knee and just said a little prayer for him. But I hope he's doing well, at least with what he can.
Did it feel kind of like deja vu with? Different injury than Malik, but did it feel like deja vu? Like, man, another guy going down in a way you don't want to see like that?
No, not deja vu. It's football. There's guys that go down all the time, and it's kind of part of it. But obviously, you hate to see that, especially to the extent of that. So,
Wando, you guys have okay.
That was Giants wide receiver Wan'Dale Robinson. After the Giants fell to the Eagles 38-20 in Week 8, he had 3 catches for 48 yards, an average of 16 yards per catch in the loss. As we welcome you back to Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. Madelyn, Burke, and the Super Bowl champ Amani, Toomer breaking this one down. Obviously, the big storyline of this game is Cam Scadaboo going down, getting carted off with a gruesome injury. But as Wan'Dale said, this happens. Injuries happen. Next man up is a mentality. What did you see from not just the pass catchers, the options that the coaches have gone 12 personnel a bit more recently, and just kind of trying to make do with the injury-riddled Giants offense?
Yeah, you bring up the 12 personnel, and that means you have 2 tight ends and 1 running back. What that does is that it's good for a young quarterback to have that, because you have the pass catchers are closer to him. Most of those routes that tight ends run are closer to the line of scrimmage, easier for the quarterback to decipher. They open up quicker, they get the ball out of his hands, and also it helps the running game. The fact that you have that extra inline blocker makes the running game go a little bit, will get better. So when Cam Skattebo goes out, and you got Tyrone Tracy in there, he had a very productive day. But you want to have both of those guys in there to have that run game going. And I just feel like they're trying to do the best they can. The roster is constantly in flux. But we're seeing that the depth of this roster is a little bit better than a lot of people thought it was.
Absolutely. Despite struggles throughout the injuries that we've seen so far, next man up mentality continues to press on. On the Giants' defensive side of the ball, they were able to get a lot of pressure on Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts. Let's send it down to one of the defensive playmakers, Bobby Okereke.
It was a tough play. They run it well, obviously. You just want to get a whistle to stop the play because obviously they're banking on getting that last-second push. We're banking on getting that opposite push. And Kayvon did a great job playing heads up and going for the ball. So good on him.
Obviously, Saquon came into this game without big stats for this year, but I assume you guys come into this figuring, he's still the dangerous guy he's always been. I mean, what was your approach with Saquon coming into this?
Yeah, we know he's a dynamic runner. He can run. He can really hit all the runs, inside zone, outside zone, toss, counter, gap scheme plays. So provided a great challenge for us, and they just executed better than us today.
Bobby, how do you make sure that this isn't a step backwards for this team after what happened last weekend and now today?
You got to go back and have honest conversations, look the man in the mirror, obviously check the tape, but just got to raise the play of everybody. The run game takes everybody, takes corners, takes linebackers, takes defensive ends, and D-linemen, everybody playing with gap integrity and playing with intensity, getting out blocks. So we'll go back and make the corrections this week.
How frustrating is it that the run D was an issue last year and it's still becoming an issue this year for you guys?
Like I said, they posed a great challenge for us today, and they just executed better than us.
As far as just the season, though, it seems like these big runs have been happening more and more. Do you just feel like it's harder just to say, hey, why does this keep happening to us,
obviously we just got to go back, look at the film. Like I said, run defense is everybody. It's not just linebackers and D linemen, defensive ends, corners, safeties are involved. The way that their blocking scheme is, they had a great plan, and they made it 11-man football. So just got to go back, clean up the corrections, and play with better intensity.
When you have those penalties like that turn drives or such like missed calls, how much does that change the momentum of the game?
Yeah, penalties hurt. So you want to play a clean game and you want to be the least penalized team for sure, because it gives them a second win. So you don't want to get them.
Dex, apologies if it's a repeat question, but Skattebo is one of the emotional leaders of this team. I think we also know that and see that. To lose him like you did, how do you deal with it?
We got a lot of guys that lead on this team, and my prayers go to Scat, and I hope whatever it is, I don't know what it is, it goes well. But we just got to step up. Other guys got to step up now.
After you beat this team 2 weeks ago, does this at all feel like a step back or like a setback?
No, I wouldn't say that. They just came out and played, and we didn't make enough plays, and the score, they was on top at the end of the day.
Dex, how frustrating is it for guys who pride themselves on stopping the run? How frustrating is it when they just get these chunk yards and chunk plays so often?
It's real frustrating, but we just got to do better, man, as a whole, as a unit. And it's not just the front guys who stop the run, it's everybody. It's a collective whole who stops the run, and we didn't get the job done.
How challenging is it to manage a season where you don't have a bye until mid-December, basically? How much different is that on your body?
It's cool to flush a loss, and you got a game the next week. So, it's part of the business, It's a bye week. It's still practice on a bye week, so it ain't really too much of taking care of anything, but it's part of the game, man.
You guys have been resilient. You've taken some punches this year. You've been resilient. Is there a limit to a team's resiliency, or do you walk in there on, this week and say, you know what, here we go?
No, we just got to win the next one.
Giants fans, download the all-new Giants mobile app for breaking news and exclusive videos, updated with a brand new layout, plus the Giants Shorts stories feed and the Pocket Game Day Ticket Holders Hub. Download it for free at the App Store or on Google Play. More to come here on Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. After the break, quarterback Jackson Dart.
Jackson, obviously, what was going through your mind when you saw Scat going down? Sorry, you turned your head, just kind of react a little bit.
Yeah, I was devastated. It's my boy, man. So seeing him go down, and obviously like reacting to what happened, and that sucks. It's the worst part of this game.
Did you say anything to him, Jackson? Did you say anything to him?
Yeah, of course.
What did you say?
We keep that between us.
Obviously, you guys have to try to keep playing, and obviously this is what football is, but just how tough was it just for that drive to try to keep going after losing Scat?
I mean, during, him getting carted off, it's emotional, but you try to go back in the huddle and try to just reload and, just try to go down and score.
Did you feel more pressure this time you played them, the last time you played the Eagles?
No, not at all.
How tough is it to keep losing weapons, right? I mean, you lose Malik, now Cam. I mean, it obviously makes things much tougher for you guys to lose some of your best playmakers. What's that been like for you?
I try not to think of it like that. Just know I got to keep making plays and, do my job to put our team in the best situation. Obviously it's not ideal and it stings, and there's more people in the rotation, but I got to be better too, and making more plays and putting us in a good situation to win.
You just played them 2 weeks ago. What did they do differently this matchup?
They did a good job. They did a really good job. Just kind of changed it up on us from what they did game one, and they played sound. And yeah, I thought that they had a good plan for us coming into the game, offensively and defensively. So you definitely got to give them credit for their plan.
They seemed in the second half to sort of want to keep you in the pocket. They really kept their outside guys wide. How much did you notice that, and did that change anything for you?
I just think that's just kind of what the plan is for most teams going forward. The Broncos did it too, so they stayed disciplined in their gaps, and I just thought that they played a good game.
The fight and the poise you've shown throughout this, you showed it again today, down some key people as well. Just about being able to stay in the battle, not just you, but your whole offensive unit, the whole team. Staying in the battle and keeping the fight going for as long as you guys can keep going.
I'm not ever going to quit. I don't care what the situation is. If I'm on that field, I'm playing as hard as I can. So I'm going to try to lead the best that I can. I have the same expectation every time we go out on the field, and try to preach that to the guys. So, when we step through the lines, we should be competing and playing as hard as we can every time.
Jackson, some of your teammates, Wandale said today, you can tell how much Jackson hates to lose. You're new here. Some of your teammates have experienced a lot of losing here. How does that mentality that you have maybe need to transcend to everybody?
Well, we got to start figuring out ways to win, because I do. I hate it, and I'm not used to it, and I'm not just going to accept it. I'm not going to be okay with it, and we as a team can't be okay with it, and we got to figure this out.
That's Giants quarterback Jackson Dart as we take a look at his numbers from Week 8 at Philadelphia. Giants lost to the Eagles 38-20, and we heard Dart just saying right there, I hate to lose. We got to start figuring out ways to win. You hear that a lot with young, competitive players. The distaste for losing often outweighs the joy of winning. But Amani, as the veteran in that circumstance right there, what would you say to the young quarterback?
I would say there are situations where, of course you hate losing, but there are situations where you just got to understand the team that you're on right now. Not to say this team is a losing team, but they have deficiencies and they have an opportunity to grow. If I was him, I would tell him, look, focus on your job. focus on, bringing the rest of your team to the same level of competitiveness as you have, but focus on improving, learning all the little things that have caused your team to lose, and bank them in your mind and say, okay, this is what I have to do. And if there's a certain situation, I gotta stay in bounds, sort of for an example, to keep the clock running. Those are the types of things you bank away, and then it'll come up later on in your career. So I think, I understand you hate to lose, but now you have to not focus on hating to lose, but focus on learning how to win. And that was one of the things that I would say to him, because there's a lot of time. I mean, I think it's a great job that they put him in, and the fact that he's on the field learning how to win is going to pay off in the long run, so that it's not about hating to lose, it's about learning how to win.
Right, and we hear Coach Daboll praising how tough he is down the stretch, kind of pushing for those last-minute opportunities. The team is growing and evolving, a young team. Hopefully we'll be getting more opportunities to learn to win that maybe translate to wins in the coming weeks as well. We've got more to come. We're going to continue to wrap this one up and look ahead to next week on Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. Well, as we heard Dexter Lawrence say earlier in the show, the best thing about a late season bye week is you got another game next week to come in and flush the loss. The Giants are heading back to MetLife Stadium to host the San Francisco 49ers in Week 9. Welcome back to Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. Madelyn, Burke, and the Super Bowl champ Amani, Toomer. We're flushing the Week 8 loss to the Eagles, looking ahead to the 49ers. And as we look at this matchup, a golden opportunity for the Giants to get back on track, but two headliners to focus on in this one, Christian McCaffrey and perhaps Mac Jones if Brock Purdy does not return at quarterback.
Yeah, I would focus on McCaffrey because, just like we said last week, during this past game, both running backs averaged over 10 yards per carry. You cannot allow Christian McCaffrey that kind of running room. So the running game is going to have to, he's averaging 3.5 for the season, but the running game is going to have to be stopping the run is going to have to be a paramount importance. And also, McCaffrey is also really good out of the backfield. So this defense is going to have to play assignment sound and not let this guy get out into space with the football, because once that happens, it's special. He's a special player.
With the Giants defense dealing with injuries of their own right now, we heard Bobby Okereke talking about how it's not just the front side that's working on defending the run. It is a full defensive task right here to maintain gap integrity. So what are your points of emphasis to the young DBs, Burke, before we go?
They're going to have to come and be as physical as they possibly can. They're going to have to try and, open field tackling is going to be at a paramount this next weekend, especially versus Christmas.
And that's a wrap for us in Week 8 as we look ahead to Week 9 for the Super Bowl champ Amani, Toomer. I'm Madelyn Burke. Thanks for watching Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Before we go, we'd be remiss not to mention the NFL world mourns the passing of Nick Mangold. The former Jets center died Saturday night from complications of kidney disease. He was just 41 years old.